Well, hello everybody and welcome back to another new vlog. Thank you for joining me once again. Just a quick landscape photography 101 for you. Look at the weather that we've got today. Beautiful blue skies, crisp sunshine. It's a warm day, late May in the UK, and the temperatures are rising. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. But one thing I want to warn you of, you've got to make sure you're prepared for these kind of conditions, because personally I've got very fair skin, so I've had to come out today with a tube of suntan cream, and I've made sure that I've applied that just a few minutes ago to make sure that I'm protected from the sun. So you need to make sure that you're also protected from the conditions, whatever they may be, when you go out to shoot landscape photography. Anyway, before I move on, I've already found a composition here that I want to show you, and it's this tree behind me that you can see just in the background there. I've photographed it twice before, and I want to photograph it again today because we've got such beautiful weather. The very first time I photographed it, we had grey skies, thundery showers, hailstorms all over the place, and obviously it wasn't a very nice image at the time. I loved it, loved the composition, but the image itself wasn't that nice because of the conditions that we were in. But the conditions today are perfect for a shot like this. What you'll notice is at the top of the tree, the foliage kind of sticks out above the foliage of the trees behind it in the background. And what that is doing is putting the foliage of that main tree into the sky. And I want to try and photograph that and keep that foliage in the sky in a gap above where the line of trees is in the background, so that you get a clear view of the foliage of that tree and the trunk of that tree leading up to it. It's a very difficult one because of the conditions, and I'm not sure whether or not I want to use filters today. Probably not, because we've got very, very blue sky. It's not all that bright compared to the foreground itself, and the sun is coming from over there, so it's casting all the light towards me anyway. So the actual skyline itself is slightly darker than it would normally be if I was shooting in the opposite direction, which is a good thing. So it means I don't need to use filters, I don't think. So I'm going to set this shot up. I'll probably have to put the camera a little bit closer to the ground and kind of look up towards this tree to make sure that foliage sits above the foliage of the trees in the background. So I hope you like this image. So I've stayed standing in exactly the same spot and just literally turned the camera around, because behind me, I don't know if you can, how well you can see them, you've got those silver birch trees just there where you can see those people walking now. And what I'd quite like to do is get the long lens out, because that's obviously a little bit further away than the other tree that I've just photographed. But I'd like to get the long lens out and try and focus in on those silver birch trees in the background, simply because the sunlight from over in that direction that I mentioned earlier is falling perfectly on those silver birch trees and really brightening up that silver and white bark of the trees. So if I can get the long lens out and zoom in a little bit close to them and capture those, that would be great. But I quite like all of these heathers in the foreground, and as you can see at the moment they haven't got their beautiful purple colour that they would normally have within the next few weeks and months, but they're just about to start turning purple. So in 3 or 4 weeks or so I might come back here and see if I can get some more pictures of these particular heathers in this area. But at the moment I like the way they're leading the eye towards those silver birch trees, and there seems to be a couple of little tracks in between the heathers that lead you towards those trees anyway. So I'm going to try and get the long lens out, focus on those silver birch trees just there, and use this leading line to lead you towards them. So I've just walked through what was essentially a very deep and muddy bog, and it's kind of made a right mess of my shoes. But luckily I've come to this little pond here, which is not far away from where I last was, only a couple of 100 yards or so. And obviously there's water here at the pond, so I've been able to just dip my feet into the water and clean off my shoes, all the mud from there. But as I'm walking around the edge of the pond, I've noticed this little composition here. I needed to get quite low to the water because we've got these little reeds kind of in the bottom left hand third of the image, and as you can see there, they're kind of just peeping out of the water. But what they're also doing, where you can see the reflections on the water, the reflections of the trees in the background are reflected in the water just at the point where those reeds come to a stop. So that's just about perfect. I'm framing that up nicely, but also you can see the absolute still calm of the water that we've got at the moment. So I've shot this at f/16, focused on the reeds themselves, and hopefully that renders everything else in the background in reasonably sharp focus. So I'm going to move on and see if I can find another image now. So as you can see behind me, Tony Pony's here with all his mates. One or two of them in the background are fast asleep standing up. Don't know how well you can see these guys over here. Most of them grazing, but some of them standing up in the background fast asleep. But I just thought I'd stop by here and have a look at them. So I'm going to move on and see if I can find my next composition then. So it looks like I'm not going to find another composition, but it does also look as though I'm just about to head back up this path through a very muddy, boggy area along here, and from there I'm only a short distance away from where I want to be anyway. I'm also right next to a main road, and there's a gate just here, not far away, that I can go through to get out of the park. So I'm going to leave it here for today. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I've enjoyed being out and about again and wandering around looking for compositions. And if you have enjoyed it, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you on another vlog very soon. Bye for now.